Oh, poor Amos
Poor
Tupper.
Amos.
Even though
Uh,
sometimes he helps get the answer by accident.
and I helped. It's
A
like
mess.
it is a red satin potato sack with frills on the shoulders. That's it.
You look like a
It's
blood clot.
bad. It's I even had a shout out to Robert Reed as
I
Adrian
had Robert Reed
Winslow.
too.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
That's amazing.
Robert Reed and Footnote. He's a total
Yes.
bitch. Tonight
Tonight on
on
Murder,
Murder
She
She
Wrote.
Wrote. That's a wrap on season
Season
one.
1.
Tonight on Murder, She Wrote.
Yay!
Oh,
All right, folks.
tonight on
I'm Victor
Murder, She
Devon,
Wrote. I'm Petra Fried.
and this is Tonight
Tonight on
on Murder
Murder,
She
She
Wrote.
Wrote.
The
That's
recap
right.
episode, the
Yeah, that's right.
reviews.
We're not just talking
Season
about one
one
episode. We're talking about 22 episodes.
or 23, depending on how you watch your episode.
That's the truth. What's
As
it to
many of
you,
you
Victor?
know,
Is it 22 or
well,
23?
it depends on how we watch the episodes. It really has to be because while I absolutely consider part one and part two of the Murder of Sherlock Holmes to be a required two-part watch,
Hmm.
they make effort to make them two different things, and I don't mind that. I'm okay with that.
That's fair.
Uh, it is very confusing how streaming has decided to organize things as opposed to. I think most recap shows of Murder She Wrote for other podcasts that do the same thing that we do,
Hmm.
ish. Uh, they do that as one single episode too, probably.
I'm sure.
So
I'm sure. Because we need the wrap up for the murder that happens in the
yeah.
first episode. I do not accept that they are two separate episodes. I do not. I do not.
Well, there's two murders, and they're both in the first episode, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Or does
Yeah,
Captain Carl get it in the second? Come to think of it.
I think he gets it in the first.
Well, at any
See,
rate.
folks, see how well we remember things that happened only 20 weeks ago? Captain Carl is still alive. Captain Carl is still alive. No, Captain Carl bites it in the second one. Well done.
All right. So they do give
Yeah.
us the satisfaction of having a murder in each. Okay, so my stance is slightly changed, but only a little. Um, so friends at home, this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk about all season long, and we have a bunch of categories to determine, and we want Victor and my point of view. So we have things like best episode title, best bitch of the season, favorite victim, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're gonna go through this list. Um, one of us is gonna go first, and then if by some chance, right, we both have chosen the same thing, we also have a second because we both need
Yes,
to
to also
contribute to
add
the
in.
table. You don't
But we
show up to a
also
party
may
empty-handed.
we may say also that we agree. Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
totally.
frankly, I would be very shocked if we have some massive disagreements.
Right.
But there are different things as we've gone along that I've appreciated in a different way than you have, or that you have a connection with than I do. So yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. That's what keeps it crackling. So Murder She Wrote season one. Um, we go through the storyline of former school teacher, widowed woman from Maine, becomes fabulous mystery writer, and so many things happen, including a lot of people dying. Where she
A
is
lot.
thrust into situations where she has to either protect someone that she cares about from going to jail, or prove someone that she either likes or does not or cares about actually did it, or see someone that she cares about or has never met before just bite it in her presence. Only on rare occasion does she show up after the murder, which I think
True.
is very interesting.
Hmm.
Um, do you want to dive into our first
I
category here?
think, yeah, yeah. I think this is a good place to start too, because we're not getting into the weeds just yet. But um, we love to judge the episode title. So why don't we start with best episode title?
Okay. So what is your
Uh,
favorite episode title?
my favorite episode title is "We're Off to Kill the Wizard." There's just
It's a
something
great one.
really clever. It's fun. It actually tells us what the episode's going to be like, which is um, a little chaotic. It's not super
Mm,
serious. Um, a lot of gimmicks in that one. I think it's really, really fun. We're off to kill the wizard.
yeah. It's macabre and
Yeah,
it's in the best way, in the
yeah.
best way. That also was high on my list. I personally am going for these purposes, I'm going to go with Hooray for Homicide. Uh,
Oh,
I enjoy the alliteration. I also like the reference, which is Hooray for Hollywood. I think it's cute. I think again it's macabre. Anytime that you can put the words hooray and homicide together, I think is a lot of fun. And I also distinctly remember in that episode you did not get the reference, and I
I
had the
didn't.
one of my favorite things to be able to do is share my own trivial wisdom and say, "Oh, that's what this
Right.
is." So
That's so funny.
I
You
went,
want
but I
to
did also have "We're off to kill the wizard" as a thought.
I love that. Okay, so I have a funny comment about that after our next category.
Okay,
Yes.
so where there is a best, there is also a worst.
Hmm.
Uh, the worst episode title. Now, depending on how you took this assignment or I took this assignment, this could obviously go in. It just made no sense for the episode, or it's a shitty, lazy episode title. It could be any number of things. Uh, Going first because I was like, technically, I have a tie here, but I'm going to go with Armed Response
Uh-huh.
as my least favorite
Yeah,
episode title. I understand we had to Google it. Evidently, it's what you call like the security situation when you have, you know. But so much of that
right.
episode has to do with the hospital.
Hmm.
And there are so many medical puns that one could have done. There are so
Oh,
many leg break puns that one
they were
could have done.
wasted.
Absolutely wasted.
A
And
wealth of
Armed
material
Response,
left on the floor.
I have to think that it was an earlier draft that just never got changed.
Never got out. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but so if you don't even recognize that episode title, Vigilant Viewer, that is the episode where Jessica either breaks her ankle or her leg, depending on the scene, and ends up at that hospital for rich people. And the lead doctor is killed at his house, for which there is an armed response. Terrific.
That we barely see. There's
Yeah.
maybe 30 seconds of looking at security guys in a security room going, I guess we got to go over there. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. It's just not
Yeah,
on the tin, and
it's
I don't like it.
wasted. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Well, okay. Don't hate me for this, Victor Vaughn, but so that was my first choice also for worst
Aha,
episode
see.
title. It was absolutely, it just makes no sense. Um, but my second choice was Hooray for Homicide,
That's all right.
which is maybe I have a maybe I have a bone to pick because it bested me when we listened to it and I didn't I didn't understand that that's what the reference was. But I, I think I think I'm projecting a little bit on this title because I also think that episode is bonkers and I guess it doesn't match the episode for me, or maybe it
Hmm.
does, but I still don't like it. Yeah, I just didn't like Hooray for Homicide.
That's fair.
Hooray for homicide. La, la,
See,
la,
now you
la,
know it. Now you can't
la,
not
la,
know it.
la.
See,
I'll
you're gonna
never
think of
forget
it
it.
every single
Yeah.
time. Uh, I would say also just as a what do you call it? A mention, honorable mention. That's the word. I think "Paint Me a Murder" is a lame title. I don't like it.
It is a lame title.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
And
was
I don't
third for
use that
me.
word very frequently, but I don't like it. So, all right. What's our next category?
Next category is okay. So this there's an interesting way to look at this next one because we
Hmm.
have uh, our last category is favorite episode, right, of the season. This is favorite out of
No,
town
no, favorite episode
episode.
title. Favorite title.
Our last
Oh, of
category,
our last category.
our
I
last
didn't
of
understand.
all category,
You
yes,
just
is favorite
you
episode.
just
I
let
know.
everyone know where we're going.
Well, if they couldn't guess that, then shame on them. Uh,
Yeah.
this next one is favorite out of town episode, followed by favorite Cabot Cove episode. So I'm
Hmm.
looking at this one not as like favorite episode, but like where
Hmm.
the setting, or its out of town quality is what makes me like it. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So in this case, my favorite out of town episode was Broadway Malady.
It's a great one.
Yeah. I just like that we get to go to good old New York and on the stage. And even if they're putting on a kindergarten production, I'm still happy to be there.
It's the budget, the Broadway budget.
Yeah.
Goodness. In the era of like Cats and Phantom, they give
Uh-huh.
us that portraiture.
Oh, geez.
Um, yeah, that is so for favorite out of town episode, that definitely made my short list. I wavered between two of them, and I think I'm gonna go with It's a Dog's Life as my favorite out of town
Mm,
episode.
great
Uh,
choice.
Yeah, and there's some really good out of town. I actually looking when I was compiling my list for this purpose, I was like, oh, there are actually a lot of episodes that don't take place in Cabot Cove. Why did I think
Most,
most of them
right?
did? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it's really season two and three where we really dig deep into Cabot Cove lore.
I think so
But
too. I think there's only 3 episodes this whole first season that take place in
there's
Cabot
very
Cove.
few,
Yeah.
and some of them only for a little bit, like some of
Yeah.
them briefly. Like the ballet episode technically is a Cabot Cove episode, but you could
Right.
also argue it as a
Right.
Boston episode.
Right.
But that also helps because uh, one of the reasons that we spend so much time in Cabot Cove eventually is because we have Amos and he has to have jurisdiction,
Hmm.
and Seth because he has to be the wet blanket or the person she bounces things off of. So
Totally.
those really require, hometown. But I love It's a Dog's Life, which is the episode where the dog is the bequeathed in the will.
Hmm.
And I think the characters are a lot of fun. I will say that episode will come up in other categories that we
Me
have
too,
coming. A lot of memorable figures. It's
for
a
sure.
lot of good wordplay, and it's a fun mystery. So I like it. So I
Couldn't agree
chose It's a
more.
Dog's Life.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite Cabot Cove centric episode?
Well, I don't know. You better go first.
Oh, all right. My favorite Cabot Cove centric episode, again, I hesitated about which one I wanted to go with, but I
Hmm.
think for this purpose, I'm gonna go with Hit, Run, and Homicide, which
Okay.
is the driverless car episode.
Definitely.
It's very watchable. It's very silly. Uh, while it is not necessarily the most satisfying mystery episode,
Hmm.
because who dies is really sort of who cares. Um,
Truly.
it's a fun experience, and you see people in the town in an interesting way. It's also, I think, the episode where I like Claude Akins the most.
Yeah.
And it's just it's insane. The pieces of it that make up that episode is just bonkers.
It is
So
bonkers.
I went with that one. I went with that
Delightful
one.
too. So delightful, that one. Um, I think uh my no surprise here, my favorite Cabot Cove episode is Deadly Lady. I know you don't love that one.
I
I
don't, but
really
I
did
love that you
love
love
it.
it.
As soon as we started getting into the shoe aspect of it and the pink shoe, I thought, I'm in. I'm here.
Yeah.
And the way Jessica proves that case, I think it's so clever by proving that a shoe does not belong to somebody. Uh, and this Deadly Lady is the second episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the second episode, yeah. So I think it comes in strong. Um, I like the sisters, even though one of them is totally useless. Um, should have been three, should have been three, but
It should have
uh,
been
I
King
think
Lear,
that's
Chekhov, all of these things, the three witches. There's a reason that we have
yeah.
this storyline. Yeah.
It's like our last episode where we watched the funeral in Wyoming, and there were 4 gentlemen who were like
Yeah.
buddies. There needed to be three, not four, but three. Anyway, that being said, I do. I like sort of the romantic relationship that Jessica starts creating with this hobo, this well-dressed hobo. And I like the daughters. I also you made a great point about how you need someone like Seth and Amos and whatnot. You need all these people in Cabot Cove to sort of make the mysteries in those that place tangible, right? Because
Mm,
without those pieces like a doctor and without the setting of the town and the world building there, we can't have lots of murders there. But this was an episode where we had a murder before we had any of that infrastructure set up for us, which makes it kind of fun. So,
mhm.
Deadly Lady was number one for me.
Very nice.
Okay, sort of a similar category next. Um, Favorite setting on Murder, She
Right.
Wrote. And so this was pretty clear for me, and that has to be Les Champignons, the drag club, mushrooms in San Francisco. That's my favorite setting on Murder, She Wrote season one.
It is pretty great. The
Yeah.
Drag Club is pretty great.
Rim
I
shots at
went
mushrooms.
I went with the boat for my Johnny Lives Over the Ocean.
Mm,
Um, because of what it gives us. It gives us it's like a hotel, which is my favorite setting,
hmm.
or a, you know, like a mansion, because it has the dining area, it has the walking area, it has offices, it has bedrooms, it has places where things can occur, and then people have to get to all of those places. It is like a little game of Clue, and I like that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think a ship, and you know, I've said it a million times, I love an island episode, and that is an island episode. Um, and I think the it lends choices to the characters in ways that are unique to a boat situation, and I like that. I think that, and I think it stands out for that reason.
It's
So,
true. It's a unique setting, right?
mhm.
It truly is the most island that we get.
Well, it's all, I mean, that was also my alternate for favorite out of town episode too, was my Johnny.
Oh,
And
okay.
part
Okay.
of that is because that setting makes that episode. I mean, that episode can't happen the way that it does unless you're on the boat.
Yeah, true.
So,
Sounds
it
delicious.
just happens to be
Yeah.
one of my most go back to ones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's talk about the flashy set piece within the setting. So this is the categories you described it as your favorite flashy set piece. So how I interpreted that, uh, I had to decide how I wanted to do it. I actually went with the zombie disco graveyard in Hooray for Homicide.
Solid.
It's
Yes.
so much. It's
Yes.
neon, it's black light, the music is fabulous, the whole thing is out of nowhere, and it only happens for like 20 seconds, but it's so memorable. It's so memorable. I did also want to do the entire decor of mushrooms, but I couldn't quite say that's a set piece at the
Right.
very least,
Fair.
because it's on a set. I went with the zombie disco graveyard.
We got it covered, right? It's too good.
How about you?
No, that's a great take on it. Like an actual like set production piece. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I took it as more of like I guess kind of a prop.
Mm.
And I, no surprise here, I chose Horrible Horatio's giant head.
Fantastic. That's also a set.
Right.
Absolutely, that's a set piece.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You know the one that's in that very long hallway where that confession scene takes place that they have to open up and put some sort of microfilm
Yeah.
deposit in it. It becomes so convoluted. But
I still have no idea if that's a ride or not.
what is it? What ride
I
is it?
don't know what is happening after you see that giant head. Do you go into a room? Do you go onto a track? Like, where are we?
That
It's
ride
just a
is called
hallway.
that
It's
ride is
just a
called
hallway.
Terror in the Storage Closet, right? Like
It-
it's just a bunch of stuff,
it's just a
random
head.
things.
I
Like, oh,
swear.
there's a vampire. There's a creature from the Black Lagoon. There's my dentist. What is in that basement? Um, but I just can't help but think about When they got the script for this and they sent it on to the scenic design folks and it said giant ugly head. And they're like,
Of
okay,
James
let's get
Coco.
going. Let's do it. And it
Yeah,
doesn't look, and those giant eyebrows on it.
yeah. Where would that have gone after? Like, is that still in the CBS lot? Like, I
Who
have to
owns
know.
it? Who owns it? I gotta know.
Did it become something else? Did they repaint it? I don't know. Ah, well, so
Okay.
let's get a little bit more ephemeral here. This next category is the favorite genre nod
Favorite
of the
genre nod.
season.
Yes.
So, as I've said, I love an island. I love a closed set mystery where everyone has to figure it out. I figured that was too easy an answer, so I'm gonna go with the Hitchcock score of Bernard Herrmann used in Murder Takes the Bus
Excellent.
because that score is so necessary for the first 20 minutes of that episode.
Uh-huh.
And it's incongruous in a way because it you know it, but why'd they pick Psycho?
Hmm.
Because that has nothing to do with anything.
No.
Um, but I like it, and it
Yeah,
gives it sort of amps up the eventual island component of that episode. So
definitely.
I went with that.
Definitely. That was one of my choices as well. One of my shortlist choices. I think the reason I didn't choose it was because it felt like strangely out of place, but I love it so much. So
Yeah.
yeah, good call. No, we're gonna go back to another episode we've already talked about for mine, which was My Johnny Lies Over the Ocean, and it's the sort of De Palma Carey vibe that the beginning of that episode gives us. I just can't get over it.
It's
And that
misty.
like
It's
sexy
vaguely out
psycho
of focus.
pool trip. Yeah, it's
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 in
like a
slow
dream. Yeah.
motion. It's fantastic. It
Um,
is a dream.
it's kind of salacious, but kind of unsettling. I love it. Plus, in that episode, she's stalked. So I just
Yeah,
love the general horror movie tone that it has that the other episodes don't necessarily have. I love it. And I
I love
really
it.
wanted more of it. Yeah. I did have Footnote to Murder as sort of a runner-up because I like that noir scene at the beginning
Hmm.
with what's her friend's name? Her writer
I
friend,
don't know the poet. I don't
the
remember.
poet, yeah, the goofy poet. I love that opening scene, but it didn't carry on for the rest of the episode, so my Johnny got the vote. Um, Actually, the next category I'm so excited to talk about because this really was the inception of this podcast in the first place,
Yeah.
and that is Golden Girls guest star crossovers. That's that's really what we had sort of mused about doing, talking about all the
It
people
was
who,
well, because Golden
um,
Girls was one of the first things that we ever bonded over
yeah,
as
yeah,
entertainers in New York. So it makes a lot of sense.
and we know that show like the back of our hands. Um, I know Golden Girls much more than I know Murder She Wrote.
We're getting
Uh,
there though. So
yeah, yeah, it's been a quick education. But what is your favorite?
no, you have to
Oh,
say
I get
yours
to go
first.
first. Okay, okay. Um, it's got to be Barbara Babcock as Priscilla Daniels in Tough Guys Don't Die.
Ah,
Um, not only is it a great cameo, but she's so good in all of the Murder She Wrote that she's in.
yeah.
That episode alone has like four major player cameos in it, and so I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Plus, can we talk about her living room? Her chain link
Please.
fence and her Easter tiles.
The styling.
She's the one. She gets
It's
it.
fantastic.
Yeah, so Barbara Babcock, Priscilla Daniels, Tough Guys Don't Die.
I love it. I love it. So again, this was hard because one does want to say, well, it has to be Rue McClanahan, doesn't it? Because Rue
Sure.
McClanahan. But again, I felt that was a little on the nose. And admittedly, while I love Rue McClanahan, that role does not serve the best of Rue McClanahan. It shows she is an actress and she can do
Yes.
a lot of things, so it's very important that she doesn't always have to play big.
Hmm.
If you want big, I recommend you also checking out her as the Reverend Mother in Nonsense. If you want to check out Rue McClanahan going big.
Hmm.
Um, So I went with Christine Belford as Erica Baldwin in We're Off to Kill the Wizard.
Hey.
So Christine Belford plays Kirsten, one of Rose's daughters, the
Yeah.
first Kirsten. Kirsten eventually comes back as another actress. And the reason I chose this one is it's one scene, but she is fully believable in it. She's styled great. She's aloof. She's kind of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
She's it's a great back and forth. It's a tennis game with her and Jessica. And because she's so disliked in the Golden Girls fandom, because
Hmm.
her character's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind
and I
of.
think that, well,
Yeah.
I get where she's coming from to a certain degree, but I think she handles it really, really badly in that
Yeah.
episode. Um, and again, because her mother isn't telling her the truth. Um, the acting choices show that Christine Belford is good.
She is.
And
Yeah.
very often when I think what happens is that when people dislike characters, they assume the actor is also bad. Like, no, that means the actor did the job.
Hmm.
That means that actually that they were good at that they were capable at that.
Yeah.
Um, and I love Erica Baldwin in that episode. I want there to be more, but I'm kind of glad that there's not because I like what we get.
Yeah.
And
She's
Christine
great.
Belford appears in future episodes. There's one where I don't really like her in it, and there's one where I also love her in it.
Yeah.
So I look forward to that as well. So she was my choice. Erica Baldwin, Horrible Horatio's Grieving Widow.
She's so good in it. She
Yeah.
transcends sort of the traps of the era, right?
Hmm.
She becomes timeless and effervescent, and she lifts up out of the time, and
And
she's
you
just
kind of also root for
stunningly
her
beautiful.
because
Yeah.
you inadvertently you want to prove that someone did kill him because yeah, that'll get what she want, which
Yeah.
is the money. So she's an opportunist, she's a gold digger to a degree, but she even says, "Would you be surprised if I told you I loved him?" And of course, yes, we would. Then she won't tell you.
Yeah.
Fabulous. So that brings us to favorite action sequence. All
Yes.
right. Yes. So this one I had to think about, but I eventually went with the fox hunt from A
Oh,
Dog's
okay.
Life.
Okay.
Um, because action sequence it's up for possibilities. Um, I'll wait till you say yours before I say what also possibly was a contender. But one reason I chose the fox hunt is because it's energetic, it's
Mhm.
fast cut, it leads us to the first death of the episode, and it is quotable in this household because in this household we say tally ho. And it's just it's an exciting scene. So I like it a lot. So I chose the fox hunt.
It is. And that's from
A Dog's
It's a
Life.
Dog's Life, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent choice. That's great, actually. I chose a different action sequence. I chose the self-driving car from Hit,
Uh
Run, and Homicide because I think looking back at the first season, that episode's pretty thin, right? There's not a lot happening. It's an episode designed for this giant set piece sequence that is the set driving car. And the sequence that she's in that car that is driving itself with like five buttons that say like start, window, go,
it's
basically, right? It's absurd.
it has
Um,
fewer buttons than Atari. Like
yeah.
it's just like
But but the sequence is really long.
yeah,
And it clearly was a huge cost for them to do this. And we get the joy of seeing Jessica's stunt double sort of do her thing inside the car. And
panic.
even Jessica in that car is like, well, oh dear, I seem to be racing down. Oh dear, oh dear. Uh, girl, scream murder. This is serious. You're gonna die. So that's why I chose the self-driving car. Just no notes, no notes.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I also had the self-driving car on my list, but
Yes.
specifically when it goes onto the baseball field and that guy jumps in front of it.
Instead of away from it. Yes. Uh, the other action moment that I had was the murder at the Oasis where the guy attacks the son
Throws
um
him in the
and then he gets thrown in
throws
the
him into the
pool.
chair.
Yeah, all that stunt work.
Mm.
Okay, next category. We're getting into the fashions here, and
Oh
we're gonna talk
dear.
about the best Jessica Fletcher outfit of season one.
Hmm.
Okay, so I couldn't decide if I wanted to put this forward, but it just kept coming up for me. I chose the fairy godmother costume from the murder of Sherlock Holmes. And I know I could have chosen something that wasn't a costume, but that
It's a
was
little
such a
costumey to me.
flex, right? When she's like, "Oh, I don't have a costume," and then she walks down the stairs looking ethereal as fuck, and kind of stealing the show. So I got to give her props for that.
It's iconic. It's
Yeah,
iconic. There's a
yeah.
reason that that is the screen cap and
Hmm.
everything. Like there's a
Hmm.
reason. Um, so mine's a little bit more esoteric. So I
Bring it on.
chose a deeper cut. I have to be honest, she doesn't really serve in most of season one. There's not a lot of very distinctive outfits.
Hmm.
So I personally went with a spotted suit that she wears in Tough Guys Don't Die. And it's polka dotted and
Is it the
it's
big polka dots?
I'm gonna grab a photo a pic of it and I'm gonna confirm that in just a second. What the hell episode is there it is? Let me see. I had to find it. And because I really like couldn't figure out, is it this one? Yes. Oh, actually, they're not really polka dots. I guess it's more of like a almost like a
Oh,
houndstooth
we
almost.
talked about this look when we watched this episode. Yeah, it's this very sort of cappuccino colored,
It's
very
so
very
chic.
cute. Yeah, very cute.
And depending on the angle, it seems to it's fitted a little differently.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know, I just really liked it. So I went with that, and I think possibly because again, some of it, like remember the red dress from that same episode, where like, what are you doing? Uh, where it's just like a sheet with a ruffle.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I just thought it looked what she should wear
Yeah,
to meet
yeah,
the CEO of a magazine. Like that's
right.
just stylish to me.
She
I
looks
just think it
great.
looks very nice.
She looks great. Yeah.
Um, honorable mention to the overcoat that she wears when she's pretending to be drunk in My Johnny Lies Over the Ocean.
I had that too. I didn't know where to put it,
Yeah, yeah.
but I wrote it down. Yeah.
It's pretty great. So yeah, that's my choice. I went with that one.
Solid, solid. You're right though.
Well, then
There's
that
not a lot to
means
like. If you're like, what's the best outfit? It's like, oh God, there's a lot of good outfits, but what's the
yeah.
serve? Yeah,
And again, I think it has to be purposeful. It's for what it's for because
totally.
my choice for our next category, which is worst Jessica outfit, it's not
Hmm.
her fault. It's just it's dowdy, it's unflattering, and it's entirely appropriate, but it's not what I want to look at. And that is all of her wardrobe for the episode of Lovers and Other Killers, which
Ah,
is but specifically, if we have to narrow it down just to one, it's what she wears in the classic bang gun scene. It's just dowdy and
oh yeah.
shapeless.
It's.
And it's sort of quintessential bad Jessica attire. Like I just don't like
Hmm.
it.
It also looks dated.
Now the vest, it's incredibly dated. Now the vest, would I wear that? Absolutely. But I don't like it together. And I think the wool skirt does nothing for me. I like her
No.
in more color. It washes
Yeah.
her out. So I went with quintessential Jessica look
Fair.
and utterly appropriate for what she's doing, but I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. It's funny. You actually talked about my choice for worst outfit already, and it's that red potato sack dress that she wears at Priscilla's party in Tough Guys Don't Die. It is
Ah,
so effing ugly.
yeah,
It's
a
like
mess.
it is a red satin potato sack with frills on the shoulders. That's it.
You look like a
It's
blood clot.
bad. It's and then she wears it in another episode, remember?
Yeah, or
She
something
actually
very
wears it.
similar.
Was it
Is
Sudden
it? Is
Death?
it the? I don't remember. Is it the exact one?
Yeah, I think it was the exact same dress. Yeah. So it was
You
the
know, she can't. She can't win them all.
it was at that football party where our friend was take yeah, that's the red dress, right? Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hang on. I just at home. We're flipping through some clips. I can't. There it is.
Yeah, it's the same
Yeah,
dress. It's
that's the
the
same dress.
same dress. The customer was very, very sure of themselves that day.
Again, I feel like it could be saved with like a belt, but the fact that it doesn't
Maybe.
have one is just enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
For our
wrong.
listeners, this is in Sudden Death at the party scene, and it's also in Tough Guys Don't Die at the party scene. So
It's her
this is
party
her
dress.
favorite party dress.
Yeah. You know, this would also work as a blouse. I would like this as a blouse.
Hmm.
And the buttons have to be a different color. Yeah, it's
It
all
would
wrong.
work better as a blouse. Yeah. As a
Yeah,
blouse.
utter a mess.
Hmm.
A mess.
Well, anyway. Okay. Our next category. Best co-detect. This is something you suggested today, which I
Mm,
really love. Best co-detective or Watson figure for Jessica. And I almost hate that I'm going first because I'm kind of this is a this is a left field choice for me.
okay.
But I chose Major Karzov from
Oh,
Death Takes a Curtain Call, even though they're diametrically opposed in what they're trying to do in many ways, right?
interesting.
But I think that they have the best rapport of any sort of match that she has in this season. They're both trying to figure out the murder from different perspectives and for different reasons, but they work together even though they're kind of antagonistic toward each other. So it's again kind of left field. I really struggled because I thought maybe the detective in Birds of a Feather would be a good choice. I really liked
Mm,
them together. I also
hmm
thought that Murder at the Oasis, I thought that that detective would have been a good option, but also kind of left field, right? Because he ends up being the murderer. But
Right.
those are the ones that stood out as being interesting. Obviously, there's Harry, but Major Karzov was the one that like I want to watch those two solve crimes together.
Yeah. In another season, Harry might win it, but not for this
Hmm.
season.
Yeah.
It's just not his strongest work with
Hmm.
her.
Yeah.
There are future episodes where they are much more in sync,
Totally.
or opposed, frankly. It's funny you should say that because I chose Ken Howard for
You
from Murder at the
did.
Oasis for Best
Yes.
Co-Detective.
Nice.
Um, because they are in fact diametrically opposed, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And I think that he listens to her because he wants to know exactly what she knows. And while there are many detectives that immediately push back on what she suggests, he lets her go
Yeah.
on because he wants to know, and he also educates her on certain things as well. Like he
Sure.
he actually, as a detective, doesn't talk down to her. He
Mm-mm.
actually says, "Well, actually, this is how a silencer would work. Oh, well, this is really what you would do here." He
Totally.
doesn't think of her as a crisis hound, and I really like that he turns out to be the villain because of that. I think that's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Best turn in
uh,
that episode.
yeah. Which then, of course, brings us to the worst co-detective. And I also chose Ken Howard for because they are diametrically opposed, and he turns out to be the villain.
That's so good.
Um, uh, honorable mention for Claude Akins because I don't think actually they work out well together, and I
Fair.
think that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons he got written out.
Yeah.
But as an episode as that goes, I think that it's just a really cool choice that was done there. That could have been gimmicky, that could have been
Hmm.
overwrought, and his immediate response is, "Okay, well then I have to eliminate you." And then when he's bested, he's like, "Well, you did your work."
Yeah.
So I guess that's it then.
I love
And
the twist that episode
so
takes. Yeah.
Detective Barnes gets both best and worst for me because he isn't, to me, in fact, best and worst.
I live. I live. My worst co-detective is Amos Tupper.
Oh, poor Amos
Poor
Tupper.
Amos. No question about it.
Even though
Uh,
sometimes he helps get the answer by accident.
and I helped. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's Amos Tupper. Um, no, I chose Amos because he consistently annoys me, right? Um, and there's not a lot of Cabot Cove in this episode, or in this season, but even even Death takes a curtain call, and he's like, "Oh, look at that pretty little thing at the docks." Oh, it's like Amos, shut up.
Yeah.
I had thought about maybe the detective in Murder to a Jazz Beat, who's a real tool. I had thought about Footnote to Murder, which is the DA who just wants his case, right? I had thought about Funeral at 50 Mile with Marshall. But Amos Tupper takes the cake.
All right.
But let's move on to more important categories. Uh, next up is, of course, the hottest guy of the season. And this there was really no contest here. It's David Tolliver in Lovers and Other Killers. And let me tell you why.
Yes, please do.
There are a lot of very, very beautiful men on season one of Murder, She Wrote.
Hmm.
David Tolliver is such an enigma of a character in this season. I still cannot decide to this moment whether he killed or not.
Yeah.
And I find that so fucking hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it? It's kind of hot,
Oh
right?
yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
This is what separates us from the other podcasts
Uh.
because everybody else is like, "Oh, he's so creepy. Oh, this is such a difficult episode. Oh, he's so awful." Like,
Uh-huh.
y'all are boring.
Yeah, yeah,
Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't
yeah.
get it. Even Jessica thinks twice, I think.
He's
Yeah.
dangerous, and that
Yeah.
episode has an element of danger to it that not all of them do.
Yeah.
There's something really provocative about him as a character, and I don't know if any other gentleman from Murder, She Wrote will ever take top spot in my heart. David Tolliver, you're the one. Thank you very much. Have a good
Yeah.
night. Yeah, how about you?
He's also the only one, at least up until this point, who gets the final shot that
Yeah,
doesn't include Jessica.
the
Yeah.
power.
Power. Well, I went with a little bit more conventional. I went with Ramon from My Johnny Lies Over
Ramon.
the Ocean. I would in fact like to see his Hoochie Coochie. He's very charming. He's very handsome.
Hmm.
The actor is also very handsome outside of the role as well. Um, and he's flirtatious and he's entertaining. He's
Hmm.
youthful. And typically a person in that role, which is basically a steward who is there to make people enjoy themselves on this cruise, uh, I would get a sense of disingenuousness or disingenuity, I guess is the word,
Yeah,
where it's just a job for them.
yeah,
I don't get that sense from him. I think he genuinely likes Jessica. I don't think he's necessarily trying to get with her,
right.
but he knows that he can have that fun with her, and she's game, and
And rapport.
it's just
Yeah.
very charming. It's just very charming. So I went with Ramon.
Ramon was my second choice, so
There you go.
we're
There you go.
right on target.
My My just in case was Lyle Wagner for the age appropriate gentleman.
Lyle gets like
Uh,
2 minutes, right?
he does just in that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Uh, all right. Best bitch of the season. Now, folks at home, we're gay, so this is actually one of the highest compliments.
It really is.
Um,
Yeah,
they're this is not to suggest that they are less that bitch is the equivalent of hot. I will say that. But I will
right.
say that fierceness and there's a top five for me. I made a top five and I'm picking one. That's basically what I did.
I have a lot
Um,
too. I
yeah.
picked several. Yeah.
So uh for recency, and because she's not otherwise represented elsewhere, I went with Stella Stevens as Sally Meston in 50 Mile,
All right.
um, because we talked a lot about this in the last episode. She has agency. She knows what she wants. She's not afraid to get it. She's not wrong in a lot of ways. She is not conniving. She's not the killer, and she is very entertaining. And she's got a lot of good. She's quick, and
Definitely.
I love her style. I love her energy. I don't think we could be friends, but again, I had a top five, and I feel like we should just keep on going with who else should have made the list.
I think we
I'll let
should.
you
Yeah,
do
we should bring
yours.
them up. Yeah. Um,
Um, but she was my pick because I had to choose one. She's not otherwise represented, and I felt that to be a tragedy.
that's true. That's true. Great choice. And actually, I thought more highly of that character after we talked about the episode,
Mm.
which is very cool. Um, my best bad my best bad bitch of the season. Sort of rewriting the category. Um, best bitch of the season for me. I felt like, oh, this is too easy. It's Ashley Vickers.
It's Ashley Vickers. I know.
I
I
don't know else who
know.
it could be because she's like the patron saint of this category as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
She was the
Um,
first episode that we did, and she made the title.
she's the standard setter. Yeah. Ashley
This is
Vickers,
the Ashley
you
Vickers
have
fan
my
club
vote.
right here.
Obviously we both had other people on the list. We just need to talk about that right now. Um, I had Tiffany Harrow. Do you remember
Oh,
Tiffany
yes.
Harrow from
Yes.
Footnote to Murder? I
Yes.
had Anne Francis
I
from
also
Murder
had Anne
Sherlock
Francis.
Holmes because she's delicious in that
And I
episode.
have a feeling that in the next Anne Francis episode, she may make this the category.
I think you're right. Who else? I even had a shout out to Robert Reed as
I
Adrian
had Robert Reed
Winslow.
too.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
That's amazing.
Robert Reed and Footnote. He's a total
Yes.
bitch.
Yeah, he's the bitch.
He's an absolute bitch.
Yeah.
In a specific way than the other male characters that are assholes.
Yeah.
Again, folks, we're coming from this from a very specific mindset, and I do think that gay men, particularly gay men of a certain age who are raised on the divas and folks that we and you and I specifically have been, we see this as a point of strength. These aren't harridans. These
Oh no.
aren't despicable human beings that we can't stand. No, we live for them.
These are aspirational bitches.
Yeah. And Robert Reed is one of the few very clearly queer-coded
Uh-huh.
characters where it's not even coded. It's just there. And we get to experience it in what is often a very heteronormative series.
Definitely, definitely. And I like that they don't spell it out for us either. It's just so
It's there.
apparently queer,
It's just there.
queer who he is. Yeah.
Um, and he is famously, according to IMDb, modeled after Gore Vidal, and it makes perfect sense.
There you go.
Um, I also want to give a note to Candace from Birds of a Feather, the the wife
Oh yeah,
of
of
our Martin
course.
Landau, Carol Lawrence, who
Sure.
very enjoyable uh
Hmm.
person. Actually, let me just double check something because I want to make sure I say it correctly. Yes, it was Carol Lawrence. Um, And we also do have to give some affection for Trish and Echo, I think, as well for It's a Dog's Life. So those round out
Absolutely.
my list
The
as
only
well.
other bitch I had on my list was Rita Bristol from Broadway Malady.
I
But
don't
I
know. I
didn't
mean,
add
yes,
her
I think
because she's not
yeah,
really the kind of, she doesn't
yeah,
fit neatly in that category the way that I want her to. But
yeah,
if there could be another category for best bitch, she'd be
yeah.
there.
Love it.
Okay.
So yes, we salute you. We salute you.
All right. So we're gonna talking about our characters. Next category is best character of the season. This is really hard. This
This
is
is impossible.
really hard. And I for a minute, I really thought Major Karzov was going to be the one for me again.
Hmm,
Um, but I switched it out for Olivia Cole as Callie from Murder to a Jazz Beat.
that's a great one. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think um, she's a master of subtle acting in that episode.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of junk going on around her, and she has this stoic, calm presence that anchors the entire episode, as far as I'm concerned, and she's the reason to watch it. So it's got to be Callie, Murdered to a Jazz Beat for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? Because we also go with, is it character or is it dress? Like, or
Yeah,
is it act? Like,
yeah,
is it the performance? And I guess it sort of has to be
kind of both.
all of it,
Yeah,
right? Because it has to be fully well-rounded and it has to be given the proper
yeah.
work. There's a lot of fun characters, and we were going to get to another category shortly, which is called One Scene Wonder, which very frequently aren't the best character and they may be our favorite characters of the episode,
Yeah.
or they may be, the most memorable.
Hmm.
But yeah, I chose, and this was a hard one because obviously, I mean, not obviously, but in my mind, the easy answer is Jessica because she has the most
Sure.
growth in the show. But as a character of that I thought I was most fascinated with and I thought had a lot of nuance, I went with Peggy Shannon as played by Piper Laurie in Murder at the Oasis.
Oh, good choice.
I think she's sexy. I think she's interesting. I think she's
Yeah.
complicated. I don't think that we get everything about her in the episode, which means she has layers.
Hmm.
Because there are some characters like we learn everything about them and there's nothing else to know, and we shouldn't know everything about a person in 48 minutes.
No.
Um, and I think that while I also loved Anne Francis in Murder of Sherlock Holmes for
Uh-huh.
similar reasons, I think she's
Yeah.
complicated. I think she's interesting. Uh, Pepper Laurie just edged out just a touch.
Mm,
So I went with Peggy.
excellent.
She's also fresh on the brain. She's a more recent episode that we watched,
Sure.
and I keep thinking of her. So
Well, and we had a conversation during that episode where we talked about how interesting she was and the choices that they made for her
mhm.
made her more dynamic and it makes her a more
Really could have
viable
been one note.
suspect. And yeah,
Yeah,
she could
and
have.
it's not.
No, she's one of those characters that there's something going on beneath the eyes, and we don't get to be privy to it, but we know it's happening, and
Yeah.
we know that she's fully baked.
Yeah. And again, I love that she's I'm going to sound like the Arthur talking about Golden Girls, where it's nice seeing well-groomed and women of a certain
Yes.
age
Yes.
and literate. But she's hot and
Right.
she's of a certain age and she's a larger woman. And I just think they do this also with Brenda Vaccaro in future episodes. And I'm like, I fucking love that she's the sex pot. I love it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Fucking love it. So
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Well, where there's the
Uh,
best.
where there's the best. I gotta
There
hear
has to be a worse.
it.
All
Tell
right.
me, tell me,
So
tell me.
this is the worst character of the season. And again, I suppose we could go with, well, were they the most odious human being? And therefore deserved or what have you. I don't like the scenes with this character and he hits my buttons. So I chose the director in Broadway Malady.
Oh, yeah,
Uh
he's awful.
Mark Faber as played by Robert Morse. He's rude, he's dismissive, and he doesn't deserve the job. And that happens in life. And
Yeah.
if I knew this person in real life, I would want absolutely nothing to do with him and I would want bad things to happen to him. So the fact that Robert Morse is able to give that to me without it seeming like
Yeah.
it's out of reality, I think it's very impressive.
Yeah.
Um, but I fucking hate that character. So
He's
yeah,
awful. Yeah,
he's
good
awful.
call. So nasty to Lorna
Yeah,
Luft.
it's awful.
Dick.
Who do you got?
I went a different direction. I went for the episode's Grady, not Grady himself, but the this episode's Grady character, and that's
Ah,
Joan in Death Casts a Spell.
oh yeah.
Because Joan is useless, she's dumb, she has bad ideas, she doesn't listen or pay attention, and she's far too eager for my liking. Joan needs to chill out and stop getting herself involved in this nonsense.
She's also probably a good contender for worst co-detective as well, because she's sort of the Grady of
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a mess.
Um, she's awfully eager, isn't she?
Hmm. Yeah.
Incidentally, my
And not
second
fun.
choice.
And no fun. A
No
total wet
fun.
blanket.
No fun.
Yeah.
And my second choice for worst character of the season is the Great Cagliostro. So from the same episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, it
Yep.
happens.
There you go.
Uh
Okay, moving on. Moving on.
mm,
Oh, this is a really fun one. Best one scene wonder. This is the guest star who shows up for one scene and owns the episode.
indeed.
I chose. There were a there were a lot of options here. I even considered I even considered from the death of Sherlock Holmes, the auditioner. Do you know who
She
I'm
was on
talking
my list
about?
as well. Of course I
Is
do.
she really? That's too good. But I ended up going with Lucille Meredith as Mrs. Brindle in Armed Response, who
She's
thinks she's
fantastic.
playing some sort of fucking game show with these gunshots
It's
she's hearing around her.
so
Um,
good.
she, despite what's happening in in the sequence of the scene from start to finish, she still is not any more privy to the fact that they're investigating an actual murder by the time they leave as when they got there. This woman is an
Yep.
idiot, and I want to give her the prize.
I love her. She was also on my list. I quote her frequently. She certainly is memorable, and I love her. But I technically this is a bit of a tie, but the edge goes to Edie Adams as Kay Shepherd in Capital
So
Offense,
good, yeah.
as flanked by Peanuts, her cat. Uh, she is the quintessential socialite news reporter.
Mm.
She also is sexy, so she's got that
Hmm.
Brenda Vaccaro, Piper Laurie thing going on, both who could have played that role perfectly, as well. And you know everything about that woman in a good way, not in a limited way. You understand where this woman is coming from in those 5 minutes
Hmm.
because she puts it so plainly with Jessica. There's some good
Mm.
banter. She's youthful because she gives information to Jessica about um, who was in proximity to make the murder
Yeah.
happen. Um, she's fabulous. She's if we're using bitch in terms of oh bitch fierce, then she would also be a contender for that. Um, but she's a great deal of fun. And she is one of those quintessentials what we're looking for in a one scene wonder in a
Totally.
fabulous way, because very often the one scene wonders go either really fabulous and luxury or like really hometown spinstery like Lucille Meredith
Hmm.
or say the receptionist in 50
Hmm.
Mile,
Right.
things like that. And I just went with glamour for this one because you
Yeah.
chose Lucille Meredith.
I think I feel like there were with two choices, it was going to be these two for
So it
this
had to be.
because they're the ones that stand out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go.
Does that lead us to favorite victim?
That's right.
Now this
Now
is
we're
an
getting to the
interesting
real
one.
goods. Now we're getting to the
Yeah,
murders.
because the question then is, and I have the two answers that I have here, so I'll pick one, certainly.
Okay.
But if I tell you both of them, you'll understand why the how the two different ways that I approach this in
Hmm.
terms of I feel for them or
Hmm.
I like them or that I like that they died, kind of. I mean, it's sort of
Yes,
or
yes.
how it happened. Um, I went with Trish for from It's a Dog's
Oh,
Life,
okay. Okay. Yeah.
um, because it's such a bombastic choice of a murder scene.
Yes.
It's a decapitation at the very most, or it's a
Morbid strangulation of some
morbid
sorts.
strangulation. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's head wounds are significant, but it's not even a head wound, it's a neck wound. Um, it's so audacious. It's just so audacious.
Yeah.
She's another one who's a total bitch, high on the list of
Hmm.
fabulousness.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't mind that she dies. So it's a good pairing of the two things where I'm like, okay, good to have
Yeah.
her gone because she's a horrible human being.
Right.
And since so many of the victims are horrible people, where I they're not also fun, I think she's a good she's a perfect blend of both.
Yeah.
So that chose Trish.
Excellent choice. One of the bonkers moments. Um, I love Trish. I didn't know how to approach this category at first either, but I ended up going with the character who I just enjoyed watching the most and who really brought the presence of this character to the screen, and that was Horrible Horatio. Just, Madam, forgive me. Please allow
Allow
me
me
the
the
seduction before you
seduction
cry
before you cry
rape.
rape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I remember watching the episode thinking, he is so good in this episode. He's so miserably evil, very mustache twirling. There's nothing worth saving here. And I also think that episode in general is just really clever and creative and a lot of fun. And Horrible Horatio and his hanging and his bludgeoning, and he's the one for me. Favorite
Excellent.
victim. Yeah.
Cool. Uh, oh, this actually, you know what? I'll save who my backup was because this goes right into victim who didn't deserve to go, actually.
Oh, really?
Uh,
My second choice does too. Go
okay.
on.
Well, because again, I said how I approached it either was this is somebody that is my favorite victim because who I also thought was a really good person potentially as well, and that's Cesar
Uh-huh.
Romero in Paint
That
Me a
was my
Murder.
that was my first choice for victim
Yeah.
who didn't deserve to go. Yeah.
So he was my backup for favorite victim if you had also chosen Trish,
Mm.
because he is so likable and so gentle and so kind and so venerable in the
Yeah.
episode. So he doesn't deserve to go. It's necessary for him to go because that's, the show.
Hmm.
Um, and since we had this as a backup category essentially for favorite
Yeah.
victim, he's who I choose as the probably the most sympathetic of
Totally.
the victims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Victim who didn't deserve to go. Um, I I went ahead and I had a feeling that he was going to be both of ours for this category because in the whole series of all the victims who are like good-natured and didn't deserve it, he has the most presence, he gets the
Yeah.
most to do, and he's the
Beloved.
makes the most impact on his episode.
Yeah.
My second choice that I'll bring to the table for who victim who didn't deserve to go, I chose Manny Farkas from Broadway Malady because that poor guy was just like, you want me to pretend to be a mugger? Okay, and then gets shot.
He was supposed to kill Lorna Luft.
I don't think he was supposed to. Oh, he did. Okay, that's true. That's true. Maybe that.
So he was incompetent unarmored.
I guess. Okay, so maybe I didn't think
No,
about this the right way, but
no,
victim who
you own
didn't.
that.
Okay, so he definitely did deserve to go because I was just operating under the assumption that he had like a fake gun or something, and he wasn't actually going to kill her, but he just got caught. This is the story I'm telling myself. This poor little actor who can't seem to make it gets embroiled in these schemes and gets caught up in this plan to like fake a mugging, is handed like a gun he thinks is fake, and then it's not. Okay, I'm going off the deep
You're
end
just
here.
making up a whole new
Uh,
episode.
I take it all back. I'll move on. Victim who had it coming the most.
Do you have a second one besides Caesar?
Victim who didn't deserve to go.
Yeah.
I actually did think it was Manny Farkas, but now
Okay,
you
so
remind me that he was
Manny
going
and
to
then
kill
Caesar.
Lorna, and I forgot that. Um,
Okay.
I think other victims who didn't deserve to go, um, the
I
poor
have
tough,
one.
tough guys don't die. Tough guys don't
Oh,
die.
sure. The detective,
Arnie.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My backup was Dr. Reed from my Johnny's mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's terrible at taking photographs, but she
Apparently,
didn't deserve to
just
be
terrible.
the pawn in her husband's web. But yeah.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know. She didn't
You
know.
know,
Yeah.
poor thing.
Uh so how are
Uh,
so what is your final answer? I guess your final
I'm
answer
gonna
is still Farkas.
I'm gonna say Archie. I think Archie is my final answer. Victim who didn't deserve to go. He's doing the good work.
All right.
Um, I'll
Sorry,
move
I didn't
on.
mean to need
You're
to
totally
totally
right.
burst your bullet.
I think from the time I watched Broadway Malady, I'm like, that poor guy. That poor guy.
No.
He's just the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay. Well, moving on. Victim who had it coming the most. Can you see? I just want to get away from this as far as I can. Uh, victim who had it
Uh,
coming the most. Ben Coleman, Murder to a Jazz Beat.
that was also on my list. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's awful.
He is truly awful, and in this case, he's going to kill Kelly.
Yeah.
That he gets killed because he is planning to kill
Who
wonderful
is your
Olivia
favorite character?
Callie, who's my favorite character. So he got to go.
Yeah.
He had it coming the most. And I think of all of the murders, or I'm sorry, the victims, he's the one that's planning something truly despicable. And so he's got to go.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
feel you. I don't like him either. He was number two on my list. Number one on my list was in fact Meston from Murder at 50 Mile.
Ah,
Uh, duplicitous,
yep.
rapist,
Rapist. Yep.
not a good guy. I don't
No.
know if you can really be much.
Nope.
So,
I
in
think
addition, yeah,
it's interesting because my second choice was also sort of in the same vein. Hemsley Post
yeah,
from
Hemsley also
Footnote
was
to
a
Murder,
thought too.
who thought he was gonna essay Debbie Delancey.
Yeah,
Oh no, no,
no, no, no.
not on our watch, sir.
Uh, well, that leads us to the most upsetting murder because naturally, we have to be morbid. So I thought about this. I mean, there are some that are bothersome, and but I had to go with the one that was so terrible it didn't even get aired,
Hmm.
and that is the murder of Marta Craig
That's number
in
two on my
Capital
list.
Offense. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Uh, and she is beaten with fists to the point of makeup being all over and blood being all over the
Those
suspect's
hands, right?
hands, right?
Ugh.
He had to wear gloves to hide it. So the fact that we weren't even able to see and yet hear a bit of it, I think indicates that it was probably pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And since so many of, frankly, the victims aren't sympathetic, eh,
Hmm.
eh, um, and many of the methods, eh, oh, he got shot. Okay. Oh, this person got poisoned. Okay.
Yeah.
This person got beaten to death, and that takes a lot of effort. And
Yeah.
so I chose poor Marta Craig
Yeah.
from Capital Defense.
Very, very reasonable. That was number two. The description when they talked about her being bludgeoned was so unsettling that that's why she was number two for me. Number one on the list, we've already talked about, and that's Trish. because she was
Ah,
decapitated by a gate.
yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
I still can't even really get over it. I just think it's such fun
Such fun.
that a
And
dog pushed the button. Come
I
on.
know, I know. I mean, emotionally, Cesar Romero is probably the most upsetting because
Sure.
everyone's so sad after that. But
Yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah,
But Trish lost her
well,
head.
lost her head.
Yeah.
Well, then let's give it up to the best murderer.
Best murder, best confession. So I wasn't sure you had suggested this if we needed to do this in two categories or if this was sort of one. But if it's
I think
one,
it's related. I think it's related.
okay, this is so hard. This was so hard between these two. But I chose Lois Nettleton as Amelia in Lovers and Other Killers because
Uh-huh.
her killer's monologue is far and away the best of the season. It's so
Yeah.
good. And she is so good in it. It's so bonkers dramatic. Um, she gets carried away and she tells us all.
Why? Yeah. Yeah. It's an excellent performance. It's an
It's
excellent
so
performance.
good. And I love that she sort of catches herself in the confession, which is kind of what Jessica's so good at, right? Is
Mhm.
getting them to confess on their own. Um, yeah, that's number one for me.
Excellent. That was number two for me. Uh, Number one, I went with the OG. I went with Arthur Hill as Preston Giles.
That's my number two.
There you go. See,
Yes,
this is why we
yes,
work together.
yes.
For multiple reasons. I feel for him. He
Yeah,
clearly was in way over his head. He made bad decisions
yeah,
along the way. Um, but we wouldn't have the show if we didn't have that situation.
yeah.
It also gets us fantastic scene with him and Jessica at the pool where where she's in tears saying how much she wished that she
Hmm.
wasn't right. It's such a great sequence, and he plays
Yeah.
it with alternating sympathy, conviction, and menace at a certain point where it actually looks like there's a possibility where he's thinking about his
Oh,
options, and one of those options is to kill Jessica.
yeah. That scene
And
is superb.
it's fantastic. So that alone had to give it the edge. So I went with Arthur Hill as Preston
Solid,
Giles in the murder of
solid.
Sherlock Holmes. Yeah,
Perfect.
yep. To that end, who had the best motive or was the most vindicated or justified? Well, that's also up for debate. Um, this was a tough one.
Yeah,
I think I took this as where I guess I don't know. This is a hard one because again, this also comes up with a depiction of potential mental illness or autism
oh, I know
or
exactly
something
what you
like that.
chose. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Murder to a Jazz Beat, uh, where you said he was the most reasonable to get killed. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
No one's really sorry that
No,
that Ben is killed. But we really feel for Eddie Walters,
you do.
as played by Stan Shaw in Murder to a Jazz Beat. He poisons Ben to save Callie, and I think because of because of the way that it is depicted, I think he actually has a pretty decent chance of uh of the trial going
Yeah.
favorably.
Yeah.
There's another one who might be yours, so I won't say it, who I think has a pretty decent chance of that happening as well. But I think that I was the least sorry he got caught. How about that? So
100. Yeah,
I'll go with that.
totally.
I'll go with Eddie.
Eddie was my first choice too. Yeah. I mean, it just made the most sense. He was
Yeah.
preventing another murder, which seems pretty high stakes.
And in such a dramatic, theatrical way too,
Yeah,
which you know I love.
like you
Like
get
he could have
points.
done that in any way. He went with fucking jungle poison. Like
Yeah. When you have it.
who did you
Um,
end up going with?
I went with, I think you alluded to this. It's Debbie Delancey
Oh,
in Footnote
no,
to
that wasn't who I
Murder
was going with, but good,
because
cool.
Hemsley was trying to essay her and
No,
she
that
got to
makes perfect
defend
sense.
herself and she did it uh, and I think that under the circumstances she's going to have it's going to be just fine. She's going to get off
Yeah,
just fine, right? She's not
she'll
in
be
any
fine.
danger. Also, she's just like a great character in
Mm.
that episode. She's like not in it at all, and all of a sudden at the end, she gets like 10 minutes of a gorgeous scene. So kudos to her. My third runner up for that was actually um, uh, Death Cast a Spell, Andy, whose
Oh,
father's life was ruined, and so he killed the great C word.
eh.
But I think that has more to do with I think Andy's really cute.
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
fair. My
so.
my runner-up was Ben Gibbons, in Murder Takes the Bus.
Oh,
Uh,
sure. Yeah, yeah,
him killing the man who was responsible for his daughter's death. Again, he gets points for theatricality.
yeah,
Who would want to kill him twice? Um, and Jessica says at the end that there's a probably good chance for temporary insanity as
yeah,
well. And you feel for him,
totally.
like he's a shell of a man. So
All right, that brings us to our favorite moment. This is hard, right?
yeah,
I have a few that I
I have a few
picked.
as well.
And my gut is telling me in this moment that my favorite moment of the season is the last scene of Lovers and Other Killers between David Tolliver and Jessica Fletcher.
Mhm.
It's it's so creepy.
Yeah,
And we've talked about this already, but we don't know this guy. There's something kind of like
we
psychotic
haven't
about it.
decided
There's
yet.
something like
Yeah,
narcissistic about him. There's something, he's so powerful in his quietness and the way that he unsettles Jessica, even at the end of that episode. Like she has to, she has to create some pretty firm boundaries to be like, you're staying away from me. Um, but it's that smirk that he gives her at the very end that they end on him. It's so powerful, and that's why my favorite moment of the season is David Tolliver lusting after Jay Fletcher.
the airport.
Yeah, yeah,
Ah, yeah, that's some good stuff. Um, so I needed to decide if I wanted fun or drama,
yeah,
and I chose drama for this one.
yeah.
Um, I raved about it during the episode. I'll rave about it again. When Jessica needles Barry into confessing in Broadway Malady.
Oh,
Uh, it is
Barry.
just it's simply one of my favorite acting scenes of Angela
Hmm.
Lansbury.
Hmm.
Um, and it's got levels and it's suffocating and it's claustrophobic and I love it. I think it's fantastic. So if we're going uh something that I can just rhapsodize about, I pick that one.
Solid.
So yeah. What else
I
made your short list?
yeah. Actually, Horatio's quote, "Forgive me, madam," the one I can't get enough of it. I also had Trish losing her head
See,
because
all
it's just
around.
I can't get over it. Trish lost her head.
Yeah.
Um, what about you? What else? What other moments?
Uh, we have to go with Drunk Jessica naturally being
Uh-huh,
a
yes.
massive highlight,
Uh-huh.
just a massive, massive highlight. Um, I also had the car scene with the driverless car
Uh-huh.
in Hit Run
Uh-huh.
Homicide. You went with Stunt, but it's also a great moment as well.
Yes.
Um, and uh, there was one more. Where's my notes? Oh, um, the it's just a nice little bit it's not enough to make the finals, but it's a nice little
Hmm.
bit. Lorna Luft singing in Broadway Melody as
Oh,
well.
true.
Yeah, thanks, but I've been there before. It's very nice.
Yeah,
So that's
for
that
sure.
little mention there. All right, that leads us to the least favorite episode of the season. Uh, so I took this is the episode that I don't want to put on.
Yeah,
Um, and because there are episodes that I have more fondness for, and I don't even hate this episode. I just don't
right.
really want to watch it.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be Death Casts a Spell. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I thought it might be Deadly Lady, but it's not anymore.
Hmm.
I would sooner probably put Deadly Lady on before I would put Cast a Spell. And again, it's not that it's a bad episode. I
Yeah.
mean, I was actually thinking the Capital Offense might make the list as well too, but there are
Hmm.
bits of that I probably would rather watch.
Sure.
So I just don't want to watch Death Cast a Spell over any of the other episodes.
Hmm.
Even Sudden Death, I thought that was a good contender too, but
Interesting.
no, I'd probably watch that too because it's got oh, we also forgot the best bitch in that one too, which is the widow of
Yes. Who shows up in lovely silhouette? Yes.
so how about you?
Okay. Least favorite episode. I did put sudden death on my list because, but then I felt like, is that too obvious? Is that too obvious? I mean, I don't like that episode. I don't remember
Hmm,
any of the characters with the exception of Dick Butkus and the ex-wife that you just mentioned. I don't remember who the killer is. I don't even remember who the victim is in sudden death. So it's not doing it for me. And so even though it feels obvious, it is the obvious answer. It is the answer for me. It's sudden death. I'm just
yeah,
not interested in pretty much anything that's happening there. Um, my second choice was actually Funeral at 50 Mile. Um,
bummer.
which is it's a bummer. It's a bummer of an episode. And the end of it being like, oh, they put a guy on a horse and put a noose around him and then the horse got spooked and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Um, I
Yeah.
think Funeral at 50 Mile has a lot of good stuff in it, in the character of Sally.
Hmm.
Other than that, I had to watch that episode because I put it on before we do every podcast recording, right? I had to like restart Funeral at 50 Mile like 8 times because I kept thinking I was missing something, and then I would rewind and be like, "Oh, I didn't miss anything. There's just nothing,
Mm,
nothing happening." So that would be my number two least favorite. But sudden death did do it for me.
understandable. Not
But
high on my list either.
yeah. And then that leads us to our final category of this wrap up of season one of Murder, She Wrote, favorite episode of the season. And this was a pretty tight race between two episodes for me, but the one that took it in the end is We're Off to Kill the Wizard.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Um,
made it. All right.
I think I'll tell you why, because Horrible Horatio is just the most delicious, fun victim. Um, he is pretty despicable. We don't care that he dies, and we actually kind of want him to, and it brings us such joy when he is killed. And then as far as the rest of the episode, I think that the mechanics of how he was murdered and who the murderer was and how they did it, I think it's so much fun with sort of swooping in the door and hiding in the dark while the police come in and then stepping out and changing the sweater and it actually feels
Yeah.
like a really cool sequence of events to follow. So I think We're Off to Kill the Wizard is so much fun.
Excellent. And of
Yeah.
course, it's Philip Carlson, who is one of the hottest guys in British Road.
Uh, truly.
Uh, so this was interesting. I narrowed it down to three, and I then narrowed it down to one of the three.
Hmm.
I chose Lovers and Other Killers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
think
good.
it's got good stuff. And I didn't really represent it in a lot of other
Right.
of my list. It was number two in a number of
Hmm.
them. Um, but as a complete episode, it makes sense to me why that would have also worked as a premiere
Hmm.
and as a standalone episode. And if I was recommending an episode to start with, rather than give somebody the task of a double episode,
Yeah.
I would give them that one.
Yeah.
Because I think it would tell you what you need to know about Jessica and the way that she does things.
Hmm.
And while there are certainly some episodes that do similar with more fun, uh, Broadway Malady and Johnny Lies Over the Ocean are examples, I think, of that.
Hmm.
Uh, it's just a really great hour of TV.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
chose Lovers and Other Killers.
That's my number three. Yeah. And then my other option was It's a Dog's Life.
It's a great one.
Great one.
It's a great one.
Wow, wow,
Uh,
wow.
yeah. So concludes our 27 shout outs
That's right.
of things that we loved and loved less
Yeah.
about season one of Murder She Wrote. Nothing that we
Yeah.
out and out loathed.
No.
We haven't gotten to that one. I don't remember what season that is, but there is one that I'm gonna white knuckle through. Uh, just
I
makes me
can't
so
wait.
mad,
Can't
so
wait.
mad. But yeah, so folks, if you're just finding this podcast and you listen to this, thanks. If you've just started, go back, hear us while we're still bumbling through our
Oh yeah.
dynamics
Oh
before
yeah.
we got we got before some of us got new microphones, before some of us figured out different sound levels. I want to personally thank Petra considerably, not only for running with this idea, but for taking over the editing and publishing controls of of this series. Um, I just didn't have it in me, and I was so delighted that not only were you willing, but you were on top of it, and I really appreciate that. I love talking about Murder She Wrote, and I will happily, but I did not need one more thing to edit in my life.
That's true.
So
I get it. Yeah. Well, and I can thank you also because doing those things is a real treat for me. I really enjoy it. And I don't have to do the social media stuff that you have been doing for us because I
I
hate
think
doing
it's
that
fun.
stuff and you are
I think it's
so
kind of
good at
fun.
it. For anybody who doesn't know, Victor is in charge of our Instagram handle, including our hot guys of Murder She Wrote.
Yes. Hawkeye's a Murder She
Very
Wrote.
well curated and he does all the screen grabs and content that we post. So um we're a good team here.
Yeah. And I do not take any of the screen grabs from any of the recap sites that also exist or any of the Instagrams that also exist.
Right.
So I intentionally, even if it's going to be a very similar graphic, I always go in a different direction. I never want to steal it or
Yeah,
take it from those. So uh
totally.
anyone who wants to check out those, there are some really great Murder She Wrote Instagram and blogs and such like that. They're very
Hmm.
easily found if you just type in Murder She Wrote um, on the socials.
Totally.
Um, Pushing Up Roses is a really great one for YouTube. I don't always agree with her estimations, but she is very entertaining.
I agree
So
with
I do
that. Yep.
recommend that.
Yeah. It's a fun time. Um
Yeah.
and I think I have another thank you for just like going on this little crazy ride.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
being down to do it. I'm so happy. We as we mentioned, it's percolated for a long time, just based on the things we love, and this just felt like a really cool thing to do with one of the things we love.
Yeah.
And
So
so
what's next?
having others join. We have some little
Um,
surprises coming up, some special treats that sort of venture outside of the Murder She Wrote universe that you'll see in your
but will
feed.
make perfect sense all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And I can't
and
wait.
then and we soon will have season two, which begins with Widow Weep for Me, which is
Yeah.
a great episode featuring the premiere of Michael Haggerty, our
Yes.
one of our Sweeney Todds to make
Yes.
into the show. Uh, Also, I mean, an abundance of people who are great contenders for these categories for next season.
I can't, I was,
So
when I was filling out these categories, I couldn't help but think of future episodes that would fall into
yeah,
these.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we
really
we
can't wait.
really put the cart before the horse, but really
Totally.
made a good cart.
It's a big cart.
Because we got 22 episodes of
Oh,
season two
geez.
to get through, but there's some great stuff in here.
I
We're
know.
gonna
Season
go
two is
to New
fantastic.
Orleans. We're going to uh, there's the wrong body in a coffin. There's everyone gets poisoned at the local restaurant. There's race relations. There Jessica goes to prison. Oh my God, there's
All
such good stuff.
kinds.
Oh
We have the jury duty episode,
yes.
which I love.
Uh
I love that episode.
there's the Edgar Allan Poe inn where there's a
Hmm.
murder. Oh, and of course Emma McGill is
Oh,
coming.
yes.
So that's very exciting as well. Oh, we have such good stuff coming.
Yeah.
And this is actually going to be a hard one to say which my least favorite episode is.
Yeah.
This is
We'll
a hard
find
one. How
out.
far
We'll
does the
find
archaeology is in this one
out.
too? My goodness. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We gotta go because we have more episodes to do. But thank you so much. Uh, I'm Victor Devon,
I'm petrified.
and this
And
has
this
been
was
Tonight
Night on
on
Murder, She
Murder.
Wrote.
That's a wrap on season
Season
one.
1. Booch. Yeah.
Yeah.